Everybody, it's Lyn from Lyn's Crafts. I'm coming by today to share a little tip and a new faux stone. New to y'all, not new to me. I've been doing it for 10 years or better. Alright, so I get asked all the time about SculpeyIII. And I bought a lot of it, and what should I do with it, and my suggestion is to chop it up and use it in your faux stones. This is a bit of translucent with some, looks like silver mica powder on it. This was probably some pearl, possibly with some black mica powder on it. Some gold mica powder on it. This again was some translucent with some interference gold put on it, and all of these were SculpeyIII. This is some of the pearl, possibly. No, this is some of the pearl with pearl mica powder on it. This is some of the pearl with some copper, or actually some red russet, it looks like. This is some translucent with some bronze mica powder on it. And this is also some translucent, and I believe this is with the chocolate brown, possibly. Not quite sure. Anyway, that's what I do with it. This mess is the Faux Pro that I got in the blazing hot summer. And it probably sat in my mailbox for a day or two, because of course I didn't know when it was coming. So it probably sat in there over the weekend. Anyway, I've had lots of people comment about how crumbly their Faux Pro is. Alright, so that's probably what I would do with it. Chop it up and use it in faux stones. This would actually probably make a pretty nice turquoise stone, mixed in with some other colors. Alright, so got that, and then I've got, this is what I've got left over. These are for doing my glitter stones. Same process, it's just some translucent clay with microfine glitter. Rolled in some microfine glitter. Red, I believe this is maybe the holographic gold. That's all I got left. Some copper. Oh, that's just a leftover a leftover roll of color from when I did the goldfish. Yes, buddy. This is a tiny little bit of possibly holographic blue. Really nice color, as a matter of fact. Alright, so notwithstanding that bit, I am going to throw together a bunch of this and show you how to do a faux stone technique. Alright, as I've said before, I don't really have scrap clay. I have bits left over from a package that I haven't used yet. Like this is some black Primo. This is some translucent, I have no idea. Could be SculpeyIII, could be, actually feels like Primo. This is some pearl. I would bet it's SculpeyIII, because I don't buy pearl in the little blocks. although it could have been gifted to me. So that's an iffy. I don't know what that is. This is some of that gray granite, which I love this color. This is great to mix colors with. Boy, you can get some really great faux jade with it, and a few other things. This is, let's see, looking like possibly some SculpeyIII white. Let me see. Yeah, I would say it's some SculpeyIII white with a little brown mixed in. A little translucent mixed in. It's just a scrap of clay. That would be great for chopping up and mixing into faux stones. So, I'm going to do the translucent and the pearl. Because I don't have any that aren't colored. So, might need a bit. So, get your clay blade, if you can find it. Once it's standing this way, it's impossible to see. So, alright, I'm just going to chop this up roughly. Sorry for the screeching on the glass a bit. Ugh. If it hurts your ears, it hurts mine too, trust me. Alright, you don't want the pieces too small, but you want them small enough. Some smaller, some bigger. Alright. Now, I'll put this in a bag, and then I'll chop the translucent. Sorry about that. I had to let the dog out. He'll probably walk right back in right while I'm in the middle of this, but it is what it is. He's a German Shepherd Siberian Husky mix. And I know you're going to ask for a picture, but taking a picture of him is like trying to take a picture of a squirrel. He does not like to have his picture made. He can be sleeping, and by the time I get the camera focused, he is up and gone. Alright. It's actually like trying to get my husband to sit down after he comes home. He drives a truck all day or all night. So when he comes home, he is constantly moving around, standing up. Can't pin him down. Alright. Don't need the dog hair in there. Okay, good. It's just a scratch on my glass. Alright, there we go. And again, because if I don't label it, I'll forget. Alright, so the translucent and the pearl. As you can see, they look a little similar, but when you're just rifling through the bags, you'll forget what it is. Alright, so I'm going to put the glitter aside on this one. Tiny little bit of gold. I'm also going to put away the Faux Professional. Not sure how I got that name, but it's not up to me to name them. Alright, what do you think? Alright, what you can do is to pick a solid color and chop some of it up. If you're wanting, I'm going to say this one for instance. You can choose a solid purple and cut it up and then add a little of the pearl, a little of the translucent, add a little of whatever you want. Or there's another way. Alright. Alright, I have no idea how this color will turn out, but I'm going to use some Adirondack alcohol ink in the orange. Doesn't sound like a faux stone to me, but hey, what do I know? Alright. So I'm going to take a little of the... No. I'm going to take a little bit of the pearl with the mica powder on it. And you can tell this was SculpeyIII because the pieces have completely flattened out. Alright, a little bit of the interference gold. I'm sorry, a little bit of the gold. I believe this also was a pearl clay, since I didn't write translucent on it. And then a little bit of the interference gold. Come on. It's in one of those very annoying Ziploc bags where both sides are equal length and impossible to open. Alright. What the heck, I'm going to add a little bit of this. I really think it's the chocolate brown color, or whatever the brown Pearlex is. We'll make this one kind of big. Alright. And of course, it's a saved Ziploc baggie. Probably one that I had used that had polymerclay in it. Alright, then we're just going to dab the alcohol ink around. And then using a toothpick or whatever you got. Sorry, I'm just going to use my metal knitting needle. The big one. I bought these at a thrift shop years ago in a set for $1. Yes, buddy, I can hear you scratching. Alright, so just mix it all around till just about you have complete coverage. This actually might not be too bad. Alright, then again, kind of spread it out a bit and leave it to dry for a few minutes. I've got some bigger clumps in there that could have been broke up, but I'm actually not too worried about it. Alright. Trying not to completely cover myself with alcohol ink today. Yeah, like that's gonna work. Alright, so I'll be back once this is dry. Alright, it's basically dry now. I'm going to gather the corners of the baggie up. And start to bring this together. Because of the Pearl X powders, it will have a bit more difficult time coming back together, but the alcohol ink does help. It'll still stick together even if you've just used the Pearl X powder. I call those my pearl stones. Alright. So there you go. Now on the two that I did as the test bakes for my new oven, I did not, well, these were sanded and buffed. I did sand the surface layer of the alcohol ink off. But I'm going to show you how to do it in a bit easier way. I've got a few little bits that didn't want to stick. Alright. Okay. Taking your blade, cut it in half. Don't shove the blade down, just let it glide through. And you can see what you come up with. Alright? It's very different from these. These, like I said, I baked them with the surface of the alcohol ink still on there, so that when I sanded it off, it left a lot of the alcohol ink surface behind. Alright? So you can get two different looks from one batch of clay. Alright? I kind of like that. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bake one of them as it is, just like this. A little better shaped, obviously. And then the other one I'm going to bake like this. Again, once I reshape it. Okay, so now we're going to need a tile. Now I'm just going to start by giving it a better shape in my hand, between my fingers. Alright, now here comes the messy part. Just using the heel of my hand kind of round it down a bit. Alright, and I'm sure you've seen me do this before. Sorry about that. This is a stamping block. You can pick these up at the craft store where they sell the stamps. They also sell them online. I got this one at a resale shop. In a bag of stuff I got for $4. Alright, so as you see, I've just gone around the stone and sort of trued up the edge a bit. Truing it up meaning giving it a more vertical surface to the edge. Alright. Now I'm going to hold it at more of an angle. It would have worked better if I'd have put the stone in the middle of the tile, but I needed room for both of them. As you can see, I've already got a better shaped stone. Alright, if you look at the tile from a horizontal view from your eye, you can tell the shape. If it's higher on one side, lower on the other side, you can tell the shape a little better. I've got it a bit higher on this side. Alright, that's actually not bad. Now, of course, it's difficult to get them perfect if you don't have a mold, which I don't. Alright, so on to this one. Now, this one, when you go to flatten it out, the pieces will tend to want to separate. So, firstly, give it a little bit rounder shape. Whoa. Alright, we got a little bit of separation right there. Which, like I said, you really won't be able to avoid. So we're going to actually just give this one a little more oval shape. And don't worry about the edges, because you will be sanding those off. And if you don't like to sand, I am so sorry, because creating faux stones takes a bunch of sanding. And no, it is not my favorite chore. Alright, back with the block again. You'll have to be careful to avoid the other one. And to keep it stuck down to the glass. I hear many polymer clay crafters talk about they don't want their piece to stick to the surface they're working on. I want it to stick. It makes working so much easier. Alright, we've still got that little surface imperfection there, but it really just helps the look of the faux stone. Alright, that's not bad. I'll show you what I mean. This one actually has quite a few. It's got a little bitty one right here. It's got a few over here on the side. It's got this one right here. and one right here. But you can tell how it really does add to the look of it being a real stone. Although this color may not really look that real. This one has more of the imperfections, like the one we just did. They're in the surface. But I actually like the way they look. Alright. So, these are ready to bake. So, I'm going to bake them. Wish me luck. This is the first non-test piece. What difference it makes whether it's a test piece or not, but alright, I'll be back when these are... Okay, here it is out of the oven. Now you can see how much this piece has changed. This was the one we cut in half. Now it changed because some of the pieces are translucent clay, so they turned clear, and you can still see the color coming up from beneath them. Alright, this is the one we haven't done anything to yet. It's just got the alcohol ink on top. Alright, so I'm going to sand them. And no, I'm not going to sand them on camera. It takes too much elbow grease. This is the chart for the... It's micro mesh, and I'll show them to you in just a second. This is what they look like. They're just little squares of wet sandpaper. Wet dry sandpaper. They start from 1500 and go to 12,000. I've got another set that goes way, way higher than the 12,000. But I haven't even broke those out yet. So this is the set, and I'm afraid they're out of order. Yeah, they're out of order. Alright, now they're right. Okay, and I don't sand with every color every time. I always start with the 1500. And I usually will follow those four down to the 3200 in order. And then I may kind of skip around a bit. Just depends. And I almost always finish out with the 12,000. Alright, so I love that the card is actually a plastic, so it doesn't get damaged. This is my tub of water that I always use for my sanding polymer clay. You can see it's gritty and gross, and it's water with just a drop or two of dish soap and a drop or two of bleach. Alright, so you're going to want to wet the sandpaper and wet the stone. Alright, so I'm just going to show you just a little bit of the first grit. Now this is the one that's got quite a bit of cracks and crevices in the stone. And I said I was going to wet the sandpaper and then didn't do it. That's about right for me. Alright. And the reason you want to work with it wet is because you don't want the dust particles in the air. So if you ever feel like your sanding pad is drying out, or your stone, just wet it again. Try to sand in a circular motion. And if you don't have the patience for sanding, you probably don't want to do faux stones, because it takes a lot of sanding. No matter what the technique you're doing. If you want that finished look. Even if you're going to gloss them, even if you're going to glaze them, you're still going to have to sand them. Now, the micro mesh set isn't necessarily too expensive. This set was like, I don't know, I want to say it was like $12. It may have been $16, not sure. But these will last. I've probably sanded 100 stones already. And as you can see, it's starting to peel off, but it's actually sticky back. So once it dries out, it'll stick back down. Alright, so I'm going to continue on sanding these. And I should have said before, when I bake at 275 and I bake for an hour. For an hour. One of the biggest problems with baking polymer clay is not baking it long enough. Alright? Sorry, I've still got dye beneath my nails. I think it's the blue from yesterday. Alright, so 275 for an hour. Then let it cool down in the oven. If you're doing a stone that's... Okay, I am so sorry about that, y'all. I have no idea where I even was, what I was saying, nothing. So, this one is the one that we cut in half. This one is the one, I just did the surface sanding on this one. I haven't done any further sanding or polishing or anything. This one I've sanded and buffed. So you can see how it turns out. It's really pretty. You can see the translucence. You can see the pearls. You can see the colored pearls even. And you can see the alcohol ink. Alright, so I'm going to set them down next to each other so you can see the difference. This one will turn out very similar to this one when it's finished sanding. There is a little bit more of the pearl clay in this one, so it will look different in that respect, but they'll really be rather similar. Alright, so that's how I did these faux stones. Let me grab a couple of others. Alright, as you can see, these are a few of the glitter stone beads. These were actually done in a twisting technique to get this effect. The real glitter stones are done more like this, with the chopping of the clay, and then I put them in a bag full of glitter, so the pieces get covered with glitter, and then you put them back together and form a stone. Alright, I love this one. This one's done with a swirl technique. Alright. This is one of the pearl stone type beads, done with pearl clay. Alright, this was done with a similar to a makumegane technique. I've got the glitter stones in confetti color, in some red swirl. This one was really pretty. So there's another confetti. Let me see. This one was done with flower-shaped glitter. Here's another one. This one was done with star-shaped glitter and some, yeah, I think this is a cellophane glitter. This one is another of the pearl stone. This one is also a pearl stone that's not been sanded, buffed, or glazed. This one is a pearl stone. And it's actually got a bit of glitter in it. I don't know if that's picking up on camera, but this one is another pearl stone. This one was from a batch of beads that I actually burned. Let's see. And so they came out with the translucent, came out pretty dark, as you can see, but it really gave it a pretty effect. Kind of like flowers embedded in the translucent clay, even though that's not what it is. It's just some pearl clay, some pink clay. But as you can see, it actually burned to the point of it caused the beads to shatter. Alright, so that can happen. Wasn't supposed to, but it did. And yeah, it was on camera. But as you can see, it gave a really pretty kind of geode effect on the inside. Here's one that was a little more successful in the mix. But as you can see, it's still pitted. Alright, so that is that. These are a couple more of the pearl stone beads. This is another one that's got a bit of glitter in the red mix. I used to do a lot of faux stones. Don't do as many anymore, but something I would like to get back into doing. This one is from the same mix as this confetti glitter. And this one is just another. This one is actually a metallic foil put on the bead. And sorry, I don't know where to get the metallic foil. I got it at a yard sale, but it was actually a free sale. It was one of those where they had a bunch of stuff piled up in the front yard, and it just said free sale. So we stopped and got a bunch of stuff, and the rest is history. So that's just a few of the beads. Some done with this technique, some not. But it's a really fun technique if you do it with the glitter as opposed to the alcohol ink. So I'll show you more in upcoming videos. Alright? That's all for today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.